Hi Ksenia, hi Kolya. Today I want to talk to you about the connection between acne, skin beauty, and nutrition. I'll start right away with a question. There are people who have acne, blackheads, black spots, acne. Are those four completely different diagnoses? It varies because the nature of acne is completely different. It might be rash and there are different locations, different types. They can be, roughly speaking, subcutaneous pimples with pus. They can be external white pimples. There are different types of acne, but in fact, everything associated with the skin is in any case a reflection of what you eat and what is going on inside the body. There is no other way around it, so it's not a direct skin disease. That's why you cannot treat it with some ointments, creams at a cosmetologist. It doesn't work like that, but nutrition can actually work wonders. It's not just for acne, it's for eczema, atopic dermatitis, and any skin manifestations. The problem is that for many people it's much easier to cover up with foundation or to spend a lot of money on cosmetology because it's easier, because you are basically doing nothing but masking it, you are removing the symptom. It's much harder to find out what's wrong with your diet and change it or deal with your gastrointestinal tract. Look, I want in this video to make some kind of mini guide. For example, there are 5 products to give up and 5 products to add and you will always have super perfect skin. I'm not going to tell you right away that it's not going to work because that wouldn't be true. You could change your diet and most people would have a gigantic effect. Because most people's skin are influenced by the diet, you can remove products, but if you have a strong bile stagnation or a strong disturbance of the microflora, nutrition only won't do the work. However, diet is the foundation. I have a lot of video feedbacks where students say, I thought for 20 years that my teenage acne would be with me for the rest of my life, and I didn't think that the skin could be clean at all. I've done everything. The biggest problem and trouble is when girls start taking oral contraceptives or their cosmetologist even prescribe them oral contraceptives, hormones to treat their acne. I think it's a massive problem and it's a completely wrong treatment. Look, if I get it correctly, there is how pimples are formed. There is a phase, there are sweat glands on it, dirt, dust, something else gets there. It's followed by an inflammatory reaction and a pimple appears. What does nutrition have to do with it? That's not how it works. This is how an external infection gets in, so it can be during some cosmetic procedures, yes, it happens, but in any case, it happens only once and a person clearly understands that they had a clean face. And then they contracted something or squeezed a pimple. But that means that the pimple was already there, so we're talking about an internal process. There are 2 most common causes of acne and they both depend on nutrition. The first cause is when you have a diet rich in carbohydrate, you eat a lot of sugar, buns, yeast and so on. That all gets into your digestive system and damages your microflora. It can be excessive fungal growth, candida, impaired microflora, excessive bacteria, and that includes helicobacter, by the way. There are absolutely different variations. It can be staphylococci, streptococci, and so on. It's useless to treat it locally. You need to change your diet completely, remove all refined carbohydrates, yeast, including dairy and fermented dairy products because of lactose, milk, and sugar. This is the underlying cause. Let's say it's a microflora disorder. Microflora disorder can be caused by a combination of. Hold on a second, I'll stop you right there. What does microflora disruption have to do with the face? It's an overgrowth of opportunistic flora. The opportunistic flora produces toxins that escape through the skin. That is to say, the skin is the most important excretory organ in our body. Through the skin, the body cleans itself, and roughly speaking, it all goes into the lymph. The lymphatic system carries it all through our body. So pimples can be not only on the face, they can be on the back, on the chest, on the hips, they can be on the butt. It's a very common story. In fact, the manifestation can be completely different. It's wrong to think that a pimple on my forehead comes from my stomach, on my chin related to hormones, but both stomach and hormones in any case depend on nutrition, maybe also on the location, but it still depends on your diet and the state of your GIT. Roughly speaking, the more toxins I drink, the more toxins I eat, the more problematic my skin is. It's damaged by toxins and processed foods, fast food, or ready to eat food. It can be alcohol. Alcohol is sugar and ethyl alcohol. It could be an excess of fructose that our body is not able to process in large quantities. It could be a condition of the liver which cannot, due to deficiencies, perform its detoxification phases and convert all toxins into a water-soluble form. Caffeine is toxins for our liver. Oral contraceptives are toxins for our liver. The liver has to work then with the help of water, urine, sweat, bile, feces. This is how the third phase works. All this must be eliminated from our body. If the liver does not work properly, if the bile stagnates and the excretion of toxins through the feces is disturbed and constipation means immediate intoxication, it's a violation of the microflora and you see it clearly all this on your face. If the acidity in the stomach is low and Helicobacter overgrowth, it can also manifest with various rashes. There have been a lot of students like that. Many people think that Helicobacter means increased acidity because it's treated this way, but in fact the first reason is low acidity, because only with low acidity it can colonize and proliferate, and then it increases acidity in the damaged area. So when an ulcer is formed, then it's treated by reducing acidity and antibiotics and so on, but the initial cause is low acidity. We blame a carbohydrate diet. You have only one advice for all of our videos: give up sugar. Sugar is a generic name that doesn't include pure sugar only, but it includes any baked goods. These are actually sugar as well. It is essentially a refined carbohydrate. It's something that supports chronic inflammation in your body. It's also candy and buns, and it doesn't mean that you ate today and tomorrow your diet turned into nothing. The issue is that you don't know what to replace it with. The issue is you don't understand that fast-cooked porridge for breakfast, even if you think it's healthy, leads to acne. The second point again related to porridge. We went through the first point, which is the disruption of the microflora and the general state of digestive system. The second point relates to high glucose and insulin levels. That's what you are talking about. There is only one advice: take away the sugar. That's what everyone needs to start with in general, and most will see huge results. This is how it happens. When you consume sugar or flour or any refined carbohydrates, it raises the glucose level in the body. To get glucose into cells, our pancreas produces insulin. It's a hormone that's kind of the key. It goes to the cell, opens the door, and glucose enters the cell. That's how they work. When there is too much glucose and insulin also accumulates, they come up to the cell, but the cell is already tired. It doesn't respond to glucose or insulin. This is called insulin resistance. The consequences of insulin resistance are numerous. These include hair loss, papillomas, acne, polycystic ovarian syndrome, and so on. But the point is that even without considering insulin resistance, high levels of glucose and insulin increase testosterone levels. Testosterone provokes the formation of sebum. So you say one squeezes, infection gets in and inflames. No, it's sebum excess. It's the white pores, the black spots, the inflammation. It leads to high levels of insulin, testosterone, and so on. A lot of people say, so let's take oral contraceptives to get our hormones back to normal. So let's not eat foods that disrupt our hormones. Okay, we take away sugar, we take away fast carbs and so on. What do we add to make our skin glow? Well, glow is probably a bad word. Glow is also the right one. Of course, I recommend plenty of fresh vegetables, herbs and berries. Why? It's also a matter of pH. It's the acid-alkaline balance within our GIT. In order to normalize our normal flora, we need fiber in order to shift the acid-alkaline balance towards alkaline medium in the intestines. Right in the intestines, because the stomach should have an acidic medium. You should eat a large amount of greens, fresh vegetables, berries. I don't mean a lot of fruits because fruit means fructose, so we do limit fruit. But these types of carbohydrates, greens, vegetables, berries, we should include in every meal because it gives us vitamins, minerals, fiber for the development of normal flora, and it creates an alkaline environment in the intestine, which does not allow to growth of opportunistic flora. So, no flora, no problems, no toxins, no acne. Exactly right. In other words, we create an alkaline medium in the intestines, and on this background, the normal flora grows and the opportunistic flora is extinguished. Our toxins and metabolites, these are the products of pathogenic flora, do not get into the lymphatic systems and you do not see them on the skin. Look, there is such a thing as puberty, where kids at age of 13 or 14 have acne all over their face, and it's normal. It can be a short period of time, and yet I would tell you that it's not directly related. It's true that hormones can change, but let's look at what teenagers eat. What does the average teenager eat? It's endless chips, soda, fast food. It's a most one meal that parents control. The child may not be taught how to eat properly, or they are trying it at this time and got hold of some pocket money and can afford trash food. Look at the teenager's diet. This is also a very common story. I just had so many clients among teenagers, and I have a huge amount of before and after pictures. When parents would bring in girls and boys 13, 14, 15 years old, they would remove all fast food from their diet, and suddenly teenage acne would turn into clear skin. Of course, there can be hormonal spikes, it can happen, but it doesn't last. And if you see acne that started when a client was 11 or 12 years old, and by the time they are 18 it's still there, it has nothing to do with teenage acne. Can we say that the presence of pimples on a person's face indicates their healthiness? Yes, 100%. I have a zit here. Well, I haven't seen your tests. Clearly, it's not just about acne, it's about any skin condition. It's about acne, flaking, rashes, atopic dermatitis, eczema, premature wrinkles, bags under the eyes, all sorts of rashes, cuperos, rosacea. It's all about unhealthiness. What do you mean unhealthiness? It could be a variety of conditions. It could be a reflection of diuretic problems. It could be 100% GIT problems because, for example, cuperosis and rosacea definitely indicate low acidity and deficiencies. A girl I know on Instagram wrote to me, and she is a cosmetologist. She says, how does the fact that I started taking vitamins and that I lost my cuperosis have any connection? It's easy because cuperosis occurs when the blood vessels are weak and when there is a deficiency of vitamins and minerals that strengthen those blood vessels. And when you start drinking cupa, zinc, vitamin C, rutin, then of course it strengthens the blood vessels and cuperosis and rosacea disappears. Rosacea has a slightly different mechanism. Very often it's related to Helicobacter. But the point is that both cuperosis and rosacea and even allergic manifestations are related to low acidity. So any manifestation on the skin is a mirror. We have a common opinion. Let's put hormonal ointment on it as if nothing happens and I'm cured. But in fact, what did you do? You have just masked the inflammation that's going on inside your body. Any skin manifestation occurs when your body cannot longer show in any other way that it needs your attention. You mean toxins, right? Of course. Is there some kind of norm? For example, I had one pimple, so look, if you ate a chocolate bar or drank a beer at night and you got up with a pimple in the morning, that doesn't indicate that you have some gigantic problem. I get it after a Coke, of course, because it's sugar, but you're the one who sees the cause and effect relationship. You realize you had a bad meal and then you get a pimple. It's the same way our students will say it. They had a clean meal, for example. It often happens at Easter. It's coming up, by the way, and you will see it. Pimples, of course, especially it falls on the course. They have 6 weeks of cleaning eating. They've already rearranged, but holidays are sacred. And if it were just a bite, but no, it's a lot of stuff. It's cottage cheese Easter, a lot of pies, tons of them. And then they wake up in the morning with pimples, redness, acne, with constipation, and so on. I always say, fine, now you see it doesn't work for you, but roughly speaking, it goes away in 2 weeks. It goes away, but it's easier, you understand the correlation. So you then consciously eat some foods. I mean, you understand that you eat that and you are going to have a reaction to it. But most people don't even realize that nutrition and manifestation on the skin is not some curved line, it's just a linear straight line. You eat it in the evening, you get a rush in the morning. Look, we're talking about spontaneous manifestations of disease, but then there is chronic acne. Chronic acne is chronically poor diet. I was talking about my students who at the age of 14 had acne and they came to the course when they were 30 years old. They thought they had this, as they say, chronic acne. What is that? It's chronically poor diet and they were chronically turning a blind eye to the fact that they are constipated or that they go to the bathroom once every 3 days, for example. It's called chronic acne. There are some really serious diseases associated with skin manifestations, such as psoriasis. Those are autoimmune diseases. There is certainly a genetic component. There are people who may or may not be prone to it, but as we've talked about in previous videos, diet, stress levels, and deficiencies, and most likely heavy metal loading play a role. It's a really serious condition. But again, in very many people, first of all, psoriasis will always be accompanied by excessive fungal growth, always. And once you address the overgrowth in the gut, then those spots pale. We have a huge number of students like that as well. Yes, there could be other causes. Yes, if you don't get rid of chronic stress, you might not have supergiant improvements like a lot of students do, but you will have them anyway. Alright, let's sum up. Give up sugar, add berries, and acne will go away. We give up sugar, high glycemic index foods. These are raffinate carbohydrates, dairy and fermented dairy products. Roughly speaking, it's pasta and flour, pastries, cookies, and candy. Add as much fiber, greens, dark greens as possible. If you have skin issues, you have to eat more vegetables, not potatoes. When I say vegetables, I don't mean potatoes. Or add starchy vegetables, baked beets, and carrots, for example. Every plate should be dominated by greens. It could be greens, broccoli, white and green. Are green onions okay? Green onions will do and white cabbage will do. Broccoli, cauliflower, zucchini, and cucumber, and celery and spinach. It will all do. Everything should be green and dark green. Well, the majority. We have to work with protein, of course. It's the skin. I'm talking about what's a must-have and what's must-not in our diet. We have to have both proteins and the right fats. Skin quality is directly dependent on fats. But again, if you have gallbladder problems, you have to address the gallbladder issue first and then add fats to your diet. Otherwise, you will get nausea, stool problems, and so on. There has to be a consistent study of your body here. Am I correct in assuming that it's all individual? It's individual as well. There are general recommendations too. We definitely do not allow sugar and milk to someone with a skin problem. That's 100%. Thank you very much. Let's wrap up. Thank you, Kolya. I'm Ksenia Chernaya and you are watching Pro Health Channel, the only channel on YouTube on healthy nutrition, not for losing weight, but for staying healthy. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you do not miss new videos.